A popular TikTok dancer was brutally murdered in her home in Kenya earlier this year. She was found dead in the pool of her blood in her bedroom by her 18-year-old daughter who had come to serve her lunch. You could imagine the horror of a little child finding her mother in her pool of blood while holding a tray of food. Instantly, this little girl went to alert the neighbors and the police were soon involved. And upon further examination of the situation, they discovered that she had been dead for a long time. She was discovered on the 9th of May, a Thursday, but the police concluded that she may have been killed the day before, maybe late in the night. Her throat was slit open with a knife, and it did not seem like there was any sign of struggle, which meant that her killer targeted her perfectly and waited for the right opportunity. 38-year-old Sheila Wegesha was killed in May of 2024, and as at the time of making this video, this is November of 2024, and her suspected killer, who happens to be her husband, 45-year-old Jackson Bambo, has not been found. Upon the announcement of her death and the naming of her suspect to be her loving husband, one question in everyone's mouth was, why did he do it? On the internet, on social media, they seem to be loving. They seem to be the perfect couple. They post each other back to back. A lot of people admire their relationship. This is a relationship that people look at and go, God, when would it be my turn? And for it to end like this, it just throws a lot of people off balance. Why did Jackson kill Sheila? Now, Sheila was a popular dancer. She used to be married to a police officer named Samuel, whom she had 3 children with. That marriage ended and then she moved on to Jackson Bambo, whom she had 1 child with. Their love was admired by many people as they made it very clear on social media. However, in December of 2023, Jackson made a cryptic post that may have been interpreted vaguely because he said, I love you today, I will love you tomorrow, even in death, I will still love you. Many people thought this was the love of eternity, this is to death do us part, but some people read meaning to it because, let's face it, a lot of stories where we've seen couples commit crime out of passion, many of them who have access to social media tend to express their love to their partners right before they commit the biggest crime ever. So we've seen multiple type of cryptic posts like this. And I guess when this post was made back in December, it may have gotten over a lot of people's head. Little did they know that in May the following year, in 2024, he was going to actually love her in death. On the night of the killing, believably, neighbors said they did not hear anything. Nobody heard anything. Even the 18-year-old daughter who lived with them did not hear anything. There was no fight, there was no commotion. The girl did not even see her mother until late in the afternoon. So she had woken up the entire day thinking mommy and daddy are in the bedroom, or thinking daddy had gone to work and mommy was just having a private time in the room until she wanted to serve her lunch. That was when her body was discovered. And that same night, it was said that the husband, Jackson Bambo, had left the house as early as 1 a.m. in the midnight. He had driven his car and left the compound. It's not clear who saw him, but I'm going to assume maybe some sort of security caught it on tape, or neighbors or some security man saw him leaving the house, but nobody thought so much of it. But the police, hearing that he left the house around that time, that was one of the biggest clues that they needed to know that he was a prime suspect. Clearly, because he shared a house and a bed with Sheila. And now that she is dead, he's nowhere to be found. It was soon learned that the couple usually had quarrels behind closed doors. They've been having this secret low-down cold war amongst each other. They've been fighting and arguing. Some people who are close to the couple said that Jackson may have been very possessive and obsessed with Sheila, but that he suspected that Sheila was on a phone call with another man, that Sheila was most likely planning to leave him for another man. And this could have been the trigger that made Jackson do what he did. But nobody was sure, nobody was clear as to where Jackson could have gotten the idea that Sheila was cheating on him. Most spouses usually know. Maybe there was something that happened that he just picked up on. But for him to go to the point of slitting her throat and murdering her point blank goes to show that he was certain that this woman was going to leave. It was not until her ex-husband, Mr. Samuel, got wind of this investigation that everyone finally knew why Jackson may have killed Sheila. According to Mr. Samuel, he said that he was in constant communication with Sheila. This is why a lot of people find it difficult when you're still in constant communication with your exes. This is why we discourage people from being so close to their exes. But the problem is, Sheila had 3 kids with this man. So it's bound to happen that they will keep talking with each other and talking about the kids. Unfortunately, Samuel revealed that in his constant communication with Sheila, Sheila had opened up to him that he was planning on leaving Jackson to go back to Samuel. So this was a love triangle here. It seems to me that Samuel himself was the one trying so hard to get Sheila back. And maybe there was something in the current relationship that wasn't sitting well with Sheila, and she felt the need to plan her way back to her first husband. But it seemed that this love triangle was what upset Jackson the most. And he couldn't take it. He just couldn't stand his wife going back to the first husband. He will most likely feel like a loser. Maybe it's one of those relationships where he got the girl and had to rub it on the man's face, and now the man is trying to get the girl back. And there's usually this cold war when it comes to love triangle. There's always this personal beef of trying to prove a point of who can get the girl at last. That tends to be the undertone of a lot of love triangle. Unfortunately for this particular love triangle, the feud and the beef went too far. After Jackson Bambo had killed his wife, he left the house with his vehicle, and somewhere along his drive, he even exchanged his vehicle with another car because he knew that they were going to trace that car he was driving. I personally feel he had left the country. I don't think he's in Kenya anymore. He probably has gone to a neighboring country to start a new life and maybe marry another wife that he will most likely kill again, because that wife would most likely want to leave him again, because clearly there's something about him that makes people want to go back to their exes. And given his reaction, given how violent he took things, I'm sure Sheila was living in fear with this man. People or men who tend to take things to the extreme to kill their partners were most likely violent and abusive. For him to get to this extent, he shows that he was most likely an abusive man. They're usually the ones that show the most affection on social media. They're usually the ones that want to post their wives and make everything look like hunky-dory online, because they know they have to make up for what they are doing behind closed doors. And for Sheila to want to leave this young man, Jackson Bambo is actually a well-to-do man. He's a businessman. He owns a popular club with his wife. They also have a charity school together. Like, this man is young because he's even in his 40s. The first husband is older and is a police officer. Jackson seemed to be even more successful and, in worldly view, seemingly more good-looking than the first husband. For a lot of people, Jackson is the total package: young, handsome, rich. But somehow, Sheila wants to go back to her first husband. So what could have been wrong with Jackson in the first place? What was the thing about him that made Sheila plan so secretly to find a way to get out of that relationship? Clearly, not everything was rosy in that relationship. Not everything was rosy in that marriage, because Sheila herself knew what she was trying to get away from. And I want to believe that this man was most likely very abusive, very possessive, very controlling. And this is the behavior with men who are controlling. Once they see that the woman that they're trying to control has finally made up her mind or is already planning to get out of that control, they end it. Most of the cases is they kill her and then they kill themselves. But for this man's case, he just killed her and he is running away to another life, probably to a neighboring country, somewhere, somehow. He's rich, he has money, so he has enough finances to start a new life somewhere else. I just wish pictures of his face are pasted everywhere, so that everyone in every country can see this man's face and be careful. Because if he can do it once, he can do it again. It's just unfortunate. It's really pathetic and it's really sad. I don't blame Sheila for wanting to go back to her ex-husband. She probably realized that she messed up. Because one thing, and you know, she's 38 and she has an 18-year-old daughter. I'm sure she most likely started marriage at a very young age, and most young girls don't realize that their first partner is the best until they've met other people and realize that the first one is who had treated me right better than the other. So she probably realized it and realized that not everything is about money or youth or looks. And I guess that would have been so painful for Jackson, who realized that he has lost his dream girl, his TikTok star. It's unfortunate. Up until now, he has not been found, caught, or arrested. He has been asked to surrender himself, but we don't have any details of his arrest. I don't know. It's been over 6 months and he has still not been caught and arrested. Let's hope he's caught soon enough, because the more time goes, the less likely he is to be found again. He's most likely married to another woman somewhere, someplace with another name.